Now let me talk about Ganesha. Before I tell you about Ganesha, let me tell you that in Hindu pantheon, a Westerner will think that Hindus believe in a lot of gods, so they're polytheistic. In reality, Hindus are monotheistic, but believe that the supreme God is able to take multiple forms. So suppose there's a Dr. Smith, he's a physician, but he has a family, so he is father of his son. Same Dr. Smith is a husband to his wife. They're not multiple Dr. Smith, but when he sees his patient, he's a physician. When he's playing with his child, he's a father. When he's sitting with his wife, he's a husband. Similarly, Hindus have believed that there is only one God who is beyond any form or shape, Supreme Brahman. But for the sake of worship, or for the sake of relating to the human mind, this God takes various forms or shape. So you might think that Shiva and Ganesha and Krishna are different gods. In a way, you are mistaken. It's the same God taking different form or shape in the mind of the devotee, so that his meditation or his prayer or his bhakti is more effective. So he can relate to the God who is beyond any imagination or beyond human concept. So to focus the mind, Hindus prefer an image and give certain qualities to the God for a certain occasion. Like if I need some money, I'm going to have goddess Lakshmi. She's a goddess of wealth. If I want to start a difficult task, I will have Lord Ganesha. Ganesha is also called Vigneshwaraya, which means he removes the obstacles. So when you start some major project, you wanna have Lord Ganesha who will remove the possible obstacles or difficulties when you undertake a major project. But I want to tell you this story of Ganesha because it's a very interesting story. Ganesha is a son of Lord Shiva and his wife Parvati, also known as Gauri. Sometimes Parvati is also called Durga. She is known as goddess of strength or Shakti. She is tremendously powerful and has tremendous emotion towards children for their well-being. Now one day, Shiva, who is a god of meditation or yoga, decides to go far away on the mountaintop and just sits in meditation. And it takes months and months, perhaps years, for him to just keep on practicing his meditation. At that time, Gauri, the goddess Parvati, is somewhat lonely. So she decides to create a child so that she would have some company. Now it's very interesting if you look at the story, that she just rubs her skin and from there she creates a beautiful child. It's almost like taking a DNA from the skin and creating a baby from there. But it is her psychic energy and yogic power that she creates this child. And then the child grows, and 4 or 5 year old child, and she tells the child that, Ganesha, you sit outside and make sure nobody enters the house. One day, goddess Parvati is taking bath. And at that time, Ganesha is sitting outside watching the house. So no stranger will come in at the time. It so happens that Lord Shiva has completed his meditation session and he comes back home. Now he doesn't know about this child, and as he tries to enter, Ganesha does not allow Shiva to enter the house. Ganesha doesn't know that the person he is blocking is his father Shiva, the god of meditation, god of dansa, god of dissolution, the great god of the Hindu Trinity. So Shiva and Ganesha go into argument. It so happens that Shiva is just annoyed that in his own house he's being blocked by a child, and the child is somewhat stubborn because he says, this is my mother's order, I'm not going to let you in. Well, Shiva then sends his Gana or his army of servants and tries to remove the child. But this child is so powerful, being a son of Shakti or goddess of strength, that all the army of Shiva is completely defeated by this young boy who is created from this divine psychic energy of Gauri or goddess Parvati. So then Shiva himself enters the battle, and in his anger he takes his trident and beheads the child. So the child that has a normal human or god-like face now has no face at all. And suddenly when this commotion is going on, Parvati comes out of the house and sees that her husband, out of anger, has destroyed Ganesha's head. She starts crying, she's very upset, and Shiva feels sorry that, oh my God, in the anger, what have I done? I have destroyed my own child's face. He then invites Lord Vishnu, the god of preserving the life on the planet. And Vishnu says, all right, let's find another head and we will transplant it. So Shiva and Vishnu send someone to find a beautiful head. It so happens that the first head they find is that of a baby elephant who was sleeping facing north. And in Hindu mythology, head facing to the north is preparing to go to the heaven. So the head of a baby elephant is cut off and placed on the head of this child who had lost the head. Now Ganesha has a head of an elephant and the rest of the body of a human being. And then to keep Parvati more happy, Vishnu declares that he would be as mighty as Lord Vishnu, and everybody who performs any major activity will first worship Lord Ganesha, who will remove the obstacle, and he will become the leader of all the celestial gods on the planet or on the galaxy entirely. So this is the story of Lord Ganesha. Now if you take it on a literal meaning, it doesn't make any sense. Why Lord Shiva, so powerful, not know that the child in front of him is his own child? And why would he kill a child even though he is stubborn and doesn't let him enter the house? But let's look at the deeper meaning of what is going on. To give a specific status to a child to become the leader, he has to have a new head. And let's look at it in a modern perspective. Suppose you are a great engineer who makes automobile. Just because you are a great engineer who designs beautiful car, and somebody makes you a CEO of a car industry, you will have to change your head from being a engineer of auto industry to a administrator. Just because you are a successful technical person does not mean you will be successful administrative person. Suppose you are a physician with a lot of clinical talent and somebody makes you a dean of a college of medicine. That doesn't mean you're going to be a good dean. You are a good doctor, but to becoming an administrative head, you will require different type of talents. Ability to work with people, ability to be an efficient administrator, ability to lead a crowd of physicians, PhDs, technical people, support staff, and so on and so forth. If Ganesha, as Parvati desired, was to be the leader of all devas or the celestial gods, he has to have cool elephant head. See, he is symbolic here. Elephant is considered an animal who is very calm, very intelligent, and has tremendous memory. If you're going to be a leader, you have to have big ears of an elephant that listens to people. If you're going to be a CEO, if you're going to be a leader, you have to have a patience to listen to people who come to you. He also has to have a big belly. He keeps everything in his big belly, means he swallows whatever he hears, but keep it secret, does not necessarily share with everybody. And he has the strength of an elephant, a huge body, so he is powerful enough to carry on a difficult task or a project that a leader has to do. So these are the leadership quality of God of the gods that one has to have when you are worshipping God as a leader of other gods, and one who will remove all the obstacles of the devotee. That symbolic meaning is represented by Ganesha with an elephant head. Now, if you look at the Vedic literature, the Ganesha didn't have an elephant head. If you look at Gananantva Ganapati Gunhavamahe, in Sanskrit that means, O Lord of the group of people, but there is no mention of elephant head. So this is a later development in the mythology of the development of theology of Hindu society, where they realize that the leader will have to have more than just a beautiful face. He will have to have a quality of a strong elephant who is willing to listen, who is willing to be calm, who is also able to keep certain secret and swallow insult at the time, big stomach, big heart, and yet get the job done. That's what Ganesha does. If you look at the Hindu Dharma or Hindu religion, there are basically two major denominations, the Shiva worshippers here on this side and the Vishnu worshippers. Ganesha is the only god that is worshipped by all the denominations of Hindu faith, because this Ganesha is beyond the essential element of Shiva or major qualities of Vishnu. This god is there to remove the difficulties, pain and suffering of the common man, regardless his denominations. And that's why Ganesha became the most popular god, regardless of the denomination of the many Hindu religion tradition. Now, something interesting one should know. Many years ago, when a lot of Indians were trying to fight British government, early 1900, the learned, educated Indian leaders were trying to get rid of British or Indian colonization of the British. And one of the ways they did this was they started worshipping Ganesha, because he is the god who will remove their obstacle, and they are undertaking a colossal task. How would people in India, without any weapons or guns, dislodge the mightiest empire, a British empire, that had colonized almost all over the universe? And Mahatma Gandhi didn't come to India until 1915, because he was in South Africa fighting the discrimination by the British government in South Africa. Before 1915, Gokhale and Tilak made Ganesha as a popular god, where he brought Hindus of different denominations together and gave them a hope that this god that removes the obstacle will remove all our obstacles in our fight to remove the British rule in India. Now, interestingly, British, who did not know the mythological meaning of Ganesha, did not understand what Hindus were worshipping and why they were worshipping Ganesha so much, because this was a hidden message that British government didn't get for almost 25 years, that when Hindus are worshipping Ganesha, they are really asking the unity and strength to be able to stand up together against the British rule in India. And that is what happened in 1947. Hindus of different denomination, in fact Muslims and Hindus and Christians and Sikhs of India got together and ultimately had Quit India movement, ultimately leading to the freedom of India from British Raj. So this is Ganesha. Few other features of Ganesha are, he has a modak or a sweet ball in his hand, saying, if you have a faith, your wishes will be granted. He also keeps a snare or a mace to destroy your fear, your anxiety, and your greed. Because in order to achieve something, you must be able to control your fear, your undue greed, and your selfishness or your negative emotions. And that's what Gandhi has taught. He said, I'm not fighting British as a person, I'm just fighting the British rule in India. In fact, many of friends of Gandhi were white British officers. They were his friends. He said, I have nothing against you as human beings. You are my friend. But I cannot have a foreign government where I don't have right to vote rule our nation for 150 years. So on one hand, you have to be open-minded and honest, at the same time have tremendous strength to lead a non-violent movement against the largest, most powerful empire, the British Empire at that time. So this mythology of Ganesha actually helped people of India stay together and put a non-violent fight between 1905 to 1947. Today, Ganesha is being worshipped. Every time a Hindu will buy a house or buy a new car or start a new job, because he's a god of beginning, god that will remove the obstacles. But in order to succeed, whenever you take a major task, you have to have some of the qualities that are represented in this statue of Ganesha. Elephant head means memory. If you're traveling somewhere, remember, you don't forget your laptop, or you don't forget your key, or you don't forget your credit card. So you need memory. You need big ears. Learn to listen to people. And sometimes ignore people if they are being very mean to you. At the same time, try to understand what that person is trying to tell you. Ganesha doesn't talk much. A good leader doesn't have to give a long lecture. He shows it by action. And that's what Ganesha does. Ganesha had killed many asura or many evil powers. In fact, he had one trunk broken during his fight with one of the demons to bring the peace back on the planet Earth. Now, another interesting fun story is his vehicle or his transportation is a mouse. In fact, some of the modern cartoon, the computer mouse is considered Ganesha's way of navigating. But the mouse represents the restless mind that can go in small corners and cannot hold still. Ganesha teaches by controlling mouse as his essential vehicle, says first step is learn to control your restless mind. You cannot get success until you learn to control your mouse. The restless desire, the restless, I want it now, I want it quickly, I want to go here, I want to go there. Well, that's not the way to be successful. Ganesha says you need to stay calm, learn to control your restless mind. So symbolically, Ganesha is kind of a nice recipe or a nice symbolism of success and how to overcome a difficult project.